G'day folks, Chris Nitzo with an update on Tropical Cyclone Fina Category 4. Today, the 24th of November 2025. This update brought to you by townsvillesheds.com. Tropical Cyclone Fina currently located around about 150 kilometres to the east-northeast of Columbaroo and around about 150-160 kilometres to the north of Wyndham. Very slow moving today. It is still a Category 4. We do expect it to weaken throughout the afternoon and tonight. Now, the system is very slow moving and therefore it may take a fair while before that very destructive core comes onto the coast. The longer it takes to come onto the coast, the weaker the cyclone will be as it hits the coast. An example here on what I'm talking about with the latest Bureau of Meteorology forecast model, we can see as we go into 2 p.m, the cyclone's still producing very significant winds up around the 70 to 90 knot range, but not quite the 100 plus knot range that it was producing at lunchtime today. So the idea is that the cyclone will slowly decrease in intensity, and you can see there that the system eventually sort of meanders onto the coastline. It to's and fro's just offshore, just onshore for quite some time through the next 24 hours. There's no real strong steering current which is driving it to the west, and that's why we're seeing this fairly erratic motion. The AI modelling also telling us the same sort of thing, that the cyclone will come onto the coastline, and as it does so, you can see the general weakening trend. We don't use AI modelling for intensity forecasts, by the way. We just use them more for track forecasts, but we can see generally the intensity of the entire system is weakening on approach, and you can see there that the cyclone actually doesn't make landfall until well into Tuesday in the AI modelling, just because it's so slow moving. On other AI modelling, we can see it makes landfall overnight tonight. But basically what we're saying there is the system's going to be very slow moving, and there's going to be a lot of rain on the eastern and southern side of the circulation, particularly north of Wyndham in this very sparsely populated section of land. Now we take a look there at the rainfall, and I'll just zoom us out a little bit so we can get a better handle on what's going on right near the border. We can see that the heaviest falls of rain on the southern and eastern side of the circulation, and we'll go right out so we can have a better look at the 512. That includes part of the western top end. So the cyclone is creating all of its rain on the south, well not all, most of its significant rain on the southern and eastern sides of the circulation. And the circulation is going to be slow moving. Once the cyclone does come onto the coastline, as I say, the later it can wait to come onto the coastline, the more likely it is to have weakened significantly. If it gets onto the coastline in the next 6 hours or so, because as you can see, it's just bobbing about just offshore, if it gets onto the coast in the next 6 to maybe even 9 hours, we could actually see a severe Category 3 tropical cyclone making its way onto the coast. But if it gets onto the coast overnight tonight into early tomorrow, we're talking more about a much weaker system that makes landfall. And if it takes till sort of later tomorrow to get onto the coast, well, then we're talking about a very weak cyclone, if anything, maybe even a tropical low. So that's the difficulty in the forecast. Not necessarily going to affect a lot of folks, but it will create very significant rainfall on that southern and eastern side of the circulation. And you can see rainfall accumulations here between now and let's just use Thursday or Friday as an example. Great opportunity to see 200 to 500 millimetres on that section of coastline, particularly just north of Wyndham, but some pretty serious rainfall extending further inland as well through the edge of WA and NT. As I say, these are very sparsely populated areas, and we hope that there are a couple of lodges and things in between Columbaroo and Wyndham, which are facing the brunt of this system, and hopefully the system can just sort of stuff around offshore for an extended period of time today and even into tonight, and therefore come onto the coast as nothing but a very weak cyclone tomorrow. The Bureau of Meteorology, I haven't even looked at this, the Bureau of Meteorology track map, you can see they're predicting a crossing of the coastline just east of Columbaroo, Category 3 at this stage, but once again, that crossing assumes the cyclone's going to come onto the coast in the next 12 hours or so, or within the next 12 hours. There's no guarantee that that's going to happen, and you can see there's a fairly large swathe of errors here beyond the next 6 hours about where this cyclone could go. But generally, a very slow west to southwest motion is expected, and eventual landfall at some stage overnight tonight or early tomorrow, and then the cyclone will weaken out to a low very quickly, and from that point it could provide a continuation of showers and thunderstorms to the east and south of the circulation. Grab more details with a subscription service to Weather IQ at weatheriq.com.au/subscribe.